Chapter 51. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Over the Grand Line Drum Island, a yellow light flashed, and a figure was already in the air. After a pause, the light crossed the sky again. It was obviously Kizaru, who sensed Finn's breath through his observation hockey. On the top of the lonely peak, Finn had a deep look in his eyes and had long anticipated Kizaru's arrival. However, he did not turn around, but just stared at the vast sea in front of him quietly. Yo yo yo, so scary, brother Julent D. Finn, your recent record is really scary. Kizaru still maintained his nonchalant look, but from the way he stared at Finn, a trace of vigilance could be detected. In fact, he was also a little weak. After all, he had heard that Blackbeard was seriously injured because he wanted to take away Ace, who was defeated by Finn. He had to be vigilant because their goals were exactly the same. Although the previous fight was just a competition, he was no match for him. At that time, Finn had not yet shown the kind of posture that could seriously injure the Blackbeard group and Weevil. Regardless of whether it was developed later, Finn at this moment is obviously not the same level as before. Although both sides know the purpose, neither side has made it clear. They chat casually and talk about some irrelevant topics, because negotiation is an art. If you get straight to the point, once you are rejected, the scene will be very embarrassing. Kizaru has been in the Navy for many years and has long been clear about this. Seeing that the atmosphere is almost rendered, Kizaru went straight to the point without any procrastination. Brother Finn, you also understand the purpose of my trip. Kizaru's tone is direct and without any detours. Finn smiled faintly and said, of course, for Ace, right? Then what are you going to do next? Kizaru asked tentatively, his eyes locked on Finn. It was a critical moment. The situation of the Navy is not optimistic now, and it is not allowed to provoke such a big enemy. They are about to face Whitebeard. If there are wolves in front and tigers behind, the situation will be really terrible. The strongest man in the world is not just a name, but a real person who can overturn the sea. Although he is a little older, he should not be underestimated. It's none of my business anyway. This is the grudge between you two. Finn looked calm and didn't care too much about what Kizaru said. His eyes revealed indifference. Oh, then what do you care about? You are not even interested in the affairs of One Piece. Kizaru asked curiously, trying to find some clues from Finn's answer. Haha, so what about One Piece? You still executed him. Finn sneered and didn't care about this topic. It seems that Vice Admiral Garp is very accurate in judging people. Kizaru looked at Finn and said thoughtfully. Oh, I don't know what Mr. Garp said. We have a good relationship. He didn't stab me in the back, did he? Finn narrowed his eyes and said slightly vigilantly. No, you are familiar with each other. Vice Admiral Garp is really good at judging people. He just simply analyzed what you want. Kizaru said with a hint of meaning, he is so disdainful of the Pirate King. It seems that he really has greater ambitions than the other. However, Kizaru did not intend to expose it at this time. After all, Finn has not done anything out of line so far. They are the Navy of Justice. They can't take action just because others have this plan. They still have to have a good reason to start a war, otherwise where is justice? Fuck, I am too selfless, right? Finn thought silently in his heart, thinking that his character setting needs to be slightly adjusted in the future. After all, he does not have a god's perspective. He doesn't know that some people who are old and shrewd have already known it. After all, there are people in this world who have this plan in every era, and there are many. After all, there are so many people with ambitions. Finn pretended not to care about Kizaru's teasing attitude. He shrugged lightly, I just pursue a free life. It's simple, right? Oh, live freely. Very good. Kizaru's smile became stronger, but he thought in his heart, it's not good to pursue freedom forever. Kizaru couldn't help laughing. Brother Finn, in this case, how about leaving Drum Island for your freedom? Finn smiled slightly and raised his hand to signal, this is not possible. The two strong men faced each other, and the atmosphere was tense in an instant. Is Brother Finn really going to be an enemy of our Navy? Kizaru also began to become nervous at this time. After all, Finn is powerful. If he stands on the opposite side of the Navy at this time, the consequences are unimaginable, which is absolutely disastrous for the Navy. The most beneficial thing for the Navy at the moment is to take down Ace by surprise and take the initiative. But if Finn is different, it is obviously impossible for him to take Ace away. Don't get me wrong, I have no intention of making an enemy of the Navy. Finn responded calmly, you want to take Ace away, but not now. He was injured in the sparring with me. I recognize him and will protect him. This is my rule and respect for the strong. Oh, Brother Finn is still quite principled. But you know that our Navy will not compromise on this matter. This will change the whole world. Kizaru tried to infect Finn with reason. You are good at talking. So what you mean is that for the benefit of the majority, a few people can be sacrificed. Finn said with a smile, leaving Kizaru speechless for a moment. Ace, we must win, because some things need to be settled, which is good for the whole world. Kizaru said firmly again. Ha ha ha, no problem. After 3 days, I won't interfere. You can take Ace away with your strength. How about that? It seems that Brother Finn can't make an exception for us. It seems that Brother Kizaru can't give me face. Kizaru was speechless again. Yo, that's amazing. Okay, this is the time for Sengoku to worry. Let's make a deal. Ace can't escape within 3 days. No problem, I promise. Ace, you heard it all. You have 3 days to grasp it well. Think about what Kizaru doesn't have. As long as you can defeat Kizaru with your own strength, then Roger's bloodline will no longer be your sorrow, but your bargaining chip. At this time, after listening to Finn's words, Ace thought for a while and said to himself. What Kizaru doesn't have, is the power of that bastard. Since the incident was caused by you and you made them afraid, then let me, you, and them settle it. Chapter 52. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 3 days passed in a flash. Under Dr. Kaleha's superb medical skills, Ace had fully recovered from both external injuries and internal injuries caused by Finn's power. However, Ace seemed to have undergone a transformation at this time, not a change in appearance, but an improvement in his inner temperament. He looked more mature and stable, showing a more determined manliness, no longer the boy he was before. Finn guessed that Ace might have figured out some things. Although Ace still decided to fight the Navy alone and go deep into the depths alone, he was no longer the one who was willing to die regardless of life and death. On the contrary, he showed a more confident and arrogant side. As if he had gotten rid of his troubles and let go of some things, Ace walked out of confusion. He figured it out. Since the world government was afraid of that man's bloodline, I would become more scary to you. It was time for everything about that man to disappear. In the sky above the sea in the distance, Kizaru had been waiting for a long time. With the appearance of Ace, the pirates on the island gathered in an open area, looking forward to witnessing the duel between the strong. Although, no one thought that Ace could hold out for long in Kizaru's hands. After all, Kizaru was a Navy admiral who had suppressed the sea for many years, and his reputation spread throughout the sea area, and everyone knew it. Everyone looked at Ace, full of expectations and worries. As a member of the pirate camp, everyone felt the feeling of common hatred, but also had some inexplicable worries because of this. After all, as pirates, it is inevitable that some rabbits die and foxes mourn. Oh! Is this the captain's bloodline? An old man wrapped in a black robe said, a voice that only he could hear. With this posture, has it been awakened to the qualifications of the king? Hey, long time no see, old friend. The old man turned and looked, just smiled faintly. Men's friendship does not need much words, just a simple smile. You guys are here too. Above the sea, Kizaru no longer had the carelessness he had before, and was filled with horror. Such a change, can 3 days really make such a huge change in a person? Could it be that all this was done by Finn? Kizaru is now a little unsure whether he can successfully capture Ace. He was full of confidence before, because he knew Ace's information and his strength. Now it is obvious that the information is outdated. At this time, a ball of fire flickered, and Ace was already standing opposite Kizaru, also high in the sky, without a trace of timidity, only overflowing fighting spirit. It seems that only by defeating the powerful enemy in front of him can he be reborn and no longer have to bear the shackles that do not belong to him. Ace is very determined in his heart. What if he is the Pirate King? He will also let Whitebeard sit in that position. However, he is very clear that Kizaru's strength, the human-shaped disaster, if 3 days ago, he had no confidence in supporting it in Kizaru's hands, but now it is completely different. He figured it out. His power belonged to him. He wanted the world to remember him, not just by chance. Patokas D. Ace, it seems that you have figured it out. For the sake of world peace, you are willing to die. Kizaru felt something was wrong and was ready to squeeze Ace with words to see if he could make the young man lose his sense of proportion and expose his flaws. His goal was to capture Ace as soon as possible. He had to be quick and decisive and not get into a protracted war. Otherwise, regardless of whether he could catch Ace, he himself might be in danger. There were many strong people here. The Navy headquarters was too far away from here. Akainu's support was far from fast. Now he only had Vice Admiral Mole who was performing tasks in the surrounding area. On the Drum Island, many people came one after another in the past few days. He had already sensed many strong people through his observation color. After all, such a big thing could not be without any waves. Let the Navy smoothly end the bloodline of the Pirate King. That was the spiritual support of the pirates. If he can't take down Ace, the situation will be serious. Ace will not only be the blood of the Pirate King, but also a real strong man who bears the names of Whitebeard and Roger. It will not be surprising that heroes from all walks of life will come together. Kizaru, don't play these tricks that are not worthy of being on the stage. Ace said lightly, ready to risk his life at any time. He knew that only by defeating the enemy in front of him could he usher in a new life. If he lost, he would not choose to live in vain, would not let the Whitebeard pirates fall into threat in order to save him, and would not let any friends be hurt in order to save him. This is his own business, and it will be settled here. The mark of the Pirate King will be dispersed today. Yo, it seems that you think you have the confidence to fight me, young man. It's so scary. Kizaru said with a hint of sarcasm, although he was surprised in his heart, but he didn't think Ace could match him now. He had his own pride, and he had always been far ahead of the same era. In the attention of everyone, he sat on the throne of the Admiral of the Navy with his super strength. Well, I won't say much. Since you choose to face me alone, then I will let you make the first move and let me see your strength. Kizaru's casual attitude has long disappeared, replaced by the caution of treating a real opponent. The one in front of him is no longer an opponent he can treat carelessly, and now, he can't be careless at all. You still look down on me, right? You still look up to me because of that man, right? Shouting out one sentence after another, as if to Kizaru, and as if to the world, Ace was arrogant at this time, and was obviously a little angry. At this moment, waves of violent fluctuation spread in all directions, and the people watching the battle on the shore and the warships in the distance were all affected. The weak ones fell to the ground one after another, and the barely strong ones were also struggling. The spirit, the great spirit, with Ace as the center, spread and shook the world. The creatures between heaven and earth seemed to feel the wrath from the gods and were involuntarily afraid. This is the domineering color. X1000.at. This time, Kizaru no longer had the calmness before, and the veins on his forehead were exposed. Obviously, he was already extremely solemn at this time. Is this the domineering color? Ace, can you surprise me again? At this time, Finn on the distant peak carefully felt the impact of Ace's domineering color, trying to figure out what it was. Is this what Akiji said about the materialization of emotions? Chapter 53. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Not simple. Too scary, it's worthy of being the blood of the Pirate King. Kizaru was no longer carefree and his face was extremely solemn. However, what he didn't know was that the Pirate King Julent D, Roger, was the person Ace hated the most. He had hated Roger since he was a child. As long as Roger was mentioned, Ace would break his defense and become furious. this is why Ace had awakened the Conqueror's color at a very young age and had been on Whitebeard's ship for several years, but he had never used the Conqueror's color to fight, because of the qualifications of the king. People can't help but sigh that it's worthy of being the blood of that man. This time, he was forced into a desperate situation, and with Finn's reminder, he realized how to break the shackles at this time, and understood that his own power has always belonged to him. For the first time, he released his Conqueror's color in battle. He wanted to be the strongest man, to make Whitebeard become the Pirate King, and to make Roger truly become the dust of history. He also knew that this battle was the most critical and the most difficult battle in his life, and it was his life and death battle. He originally just wanted to do everything he could to defeat Kizaru, but at this moment, he made up his mind that he would make this annoying person who made him angry again and again regret mentioning that man again and again. Kizaru, you Navy really made me angry, get ready to die. Ace stared at Kizaru and said coldly. Yo, it's terrible. Then I want to see if you are qualified to be so arrogant. Kizaru said in a steady tone, and the fighting spirit in his eyes gradually rose. On the peak, Finn stared at the upcoming duel. The domineering color displayed by Ace made him look forward to this battle. He looked forward to witnessing the collision of the strong and seeing whether Ace could really fight for his life. He also didn't want a rising star like Ace to end in a hurry. But he wouldn't intervene, he had done enough. Finn now doubted whether the Navy would take measures against him after this, because it was he who caused the situation to be full of twists and turns, and it was he who prompted this battle. This battle will truly determine the direction of the entire situation, and may change the pattern of the entire sea. Finn was also looking forward to it, his eyes fixed on the two people in the field. In this tense atmosphere, Ace took a deep breath, and the whole person was like a ball of blazing flames. Kizaru, take it. Fire Fist. Ace was angry and used his most commonly used moves. His arm instantly turned into a huge flame with a very high temperature. A fist composed of flames hit Kizaru at a very fast speed, with a wide range and a great impact. Carefully feeling it, the Fire Fist at this time is completely different from the previous confrontation with Finn. It seems that there is something mixed in the flame, which makes people feel afraid. Kizaru on the opposite side felt the most deeply at this time. The flame transmitted an emotion, extreme anger, like the anger of a god. Even the mortal admirals of the Navy were somewhat afraid. As an admiral of the Navy for many years, he had been tempered by countless trials and his heart was as hard as iron. Even so, he felt the oppression brought by the attack at this moment. His strength was suppressed, and his heart and body were out of sync. At this time, Kizaru had a real cold sweat on his forehead. This is the Conqueror's Haki entanglement. X20. That the strong men watching the battle were also extremely shocked at this time. In fact, this thing itself has a legendary degree. The mixed injury entangled with the Conqueror's Haki is an attack method that only the real top strong men on the sea have. In every era, there are only a few people who are said to be the fighting posture of the king. In extreme calmness, Kizaru no longer underestimated Ace, and completely treated him as equal to him. Full power light speed kick. Kizaru used his full power to exert the power of the fruit, and he did not dare to be careless at all, otherwise it would not be impossible for him to capsize in the gutter. He never expected that he would be frightened one after another. This completely messed up his mentality. He had been carrying out his mission with the mentality of a worker, but now it has become his life-threatening moment. He just wants to get a salary, punch a card, and enjoy life leisurely. Why is it so difficult? He doesn't care about the so-called grievances and entanglements between the Navy and pirates. The Navy has done a lot of dirty things. In his position, he has already seen through it, otherwise he would not stick to the ambiguous justice. You have actually made it this far, Ace, you really amaze me. Could it be that the spirituality and emotions carried in this attack are what Akiji said? It seems that it really has the effect of improving the attack ability. On the peak in the distance, Finn was really amazed by Ace at this time, and was really shocked. Completely, I didn't expect Ace to do this. That was the entanglement of Conqueror's Haki, which he had been pursuing desperately. He went through so much trouble to cross half the planet and go to the Sabaody Islands. Wasn't it just to confirm whether he had it and to ask for advice on Conqueror's Haki? Who said that this thing is too tempting for time travelers? Without it, it's embarrassing to say that you are a time traveler. How could Finn not be envious and jealous? Others have the power that is easily available but despised, but he doesn't know if he has it, and he is still pursuing it. He can only sigh alone on this lonely peak. How can there be fairness in this world? At this moment, Finn is also concentrating. He wants to carefully feel Ace's Conqueror's Haki to see if he can refer to it and understand it. What Finn doesn't know is that this is destined to be futile. Over the years, has anyone ever heard of anyone who has understood Conqueror's Haki and others' Conqueror's Haki? Over the years, there are no unwilling strong people who have had the same idea. This path has long been proven to be impossible. Other people's Conqueror's Haki is their will, their way, or their life. How can two different lives produce the same will? At this time, Kizaru on the field was facing the fire fist attack and was in great pain. It was not only physically burning, but also mentally shaking. He could only use the strongest light-speed kick to carefully deal with it. His nerves were tense to the extreme. At the moment when human life was at stake, he could not be careless at all. He was the first to bear the brunt of every impact caused by the Conqueror's Haki fluctuation. Under the suppression of the Conqueror's Haki, his spirit was very tired, and his heart and body could not be completely synchronized, which directly caused him to only exert 80% of his strength. The two people on the field had no idea how many times they had fought. Ace was in a desperate attitude, vowing to erase the shackles caused by Roger. To prove that he could be the strongest, and Kizaru had the mentality of a big worker, cherishing his life and completing the task. He had never thought of this. His continuous defense and barely holding on were already too strong on paper. He knew that he had no way to deal with Ace, and could only use the method of delaying. It was embarrassing, and he could only wait for Akainu's support. As the two fought, the impact of the Conqueror's Haki spread from the center of the battlefield to all directions. The first to bear the brunt were the people on the Navy warship. At this time, the celestial dragons were no longer different from ordinary people. They believed that they were the descendants of God and also crawled on the ground to resist this spiritual oppression and shock. Everyone on the coast was affected to varying degrees. The scene was really too shocking for them. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect that Fire Fist Ace not only had Conqueror's Haki, but also could use entanglement attacks. This is a move that only the top strong men on the sea can use. It's worthy of the blood of the Pirate King. At the age of 20, he already has the strength to compete with the top strong men. The people watching the battle had different opinions and sighed at the strength of Ace. Did Whitebeard really teach this? The man in black robe frowned and said to himself, they followed Roger through hundreds of battles and were knowledgeable, but there were very few who could master the Conqueror's Haki, a highly integrated attack method of the mind, body and skills, as rare as his name, Conqueror. Obviously he guessed correctly. This was taught by Whitebeard. He knew that Ace had Conqueror's Haki, although Ace was extremely resistant to this power, thinking that it was inherited from that man, and he could not get over the hurdle in his heart, so he always chose to escape. But who is Whitebeard? How could he not know what this power is? It has nothing to do with Roger at all. It's just Ace's own inner demon, as a great pirate who dominated an era. But he is old. There will always be a day when he leaves, and then his family will have no one to protect him. This is also the reason why he is gradually haggard day by day. It is really a heart disease that cannot be cured. He knows very well that on the sea, only the strong who truly possesses the Conqueror's Haki and can truly use this power can take the helm of the Whitebeard pirates for him again. Ace's qualifications gave him hope. So regardless of whether Ace can use it or not, he chose to teach Ace the skills to use this power. He knew very well that once Ace's identity was exposed, it would be very dangerous. He didn't know how much time Ace would have to grow, but he knew that if the accident came too suddenly, then the Conqueror's Haki might be Ace's lifeline. Teaching the Conqueror's Haki entanglement method was also to prevent accidents. No, the accident came so suddenly. If Finn knew, he would also give a thumbs up and sigh. The old ones are still the best. Ace is his hope. The Whitebeard pirates the hope of the group. The pirate group he founded will continue to exist after he leaves, and the hope that his name Whitebeard can continue to be praised. This is also the reason why Whitebeard will gather the strength of the whole group to save him. If every member of the group, Whitebeard, took such a big risk to rescue, the Whitebeard pirates would have been calculated to be gone long ago. Back on the battlefield, Ace knew that Kizaru's advantage was the extreme speed, so any fancy tricks were useless. Only large-scale bombing strikes could force Kizaru to fight. However, at this moment, he obviously underestimated Kizaru. Under the gaze of so many people, it might even be broadcast live by the news agency. If he dared to fly a kite and take such a shameless approach, he would definitely be despised by the world, and Kizaru knew it well. He represents the strongest combat power of the Navy and is the flag of the Navy. Facing a young junior, he is already bullying the weak, and he is not allowed to do so at this moment. Besides, Kizaru has always been his opponent toyed with. When did he start to rely on hiding to fight? What a humiliation this is for him. Where can he put his face? Where is the dignity of the Navy? So there is this scene, violent collisions, explosions, and roars in the sky. Finn on the peak finally knew the reason why Akiji and Akainu fought for 10 days and 10 nights, because these natural ability users are obviously the strongest in the AoE damage of the fruit. Who would be stupid enough to give up such an advantage and fight you in a melee? So, the fight is just like a round-based system, back and forth. If there is no absolute firepower suppression, it is possible to fight forever. Kizaru can only be completely powerless at this time. He has no ability to defeat Ace. Although he is a natural devil fruit ability user with a higher degree of development than Ace. But Ace has the blessing of the domineering color. He can't do anything, he can only drag the battle and wait for Akainu's support. He has tried his best. This fight lasted for 2 days and 2 nights. The whole world is paying attention to this battle. Many news media broadcast it live. This battle caused a great uproar around the world. Julent D, Roger's son, Fire Fist Ace, is only 20 years old and can compete with the Admiral of the Navy. The news spread quickly around the world. Let those young people who yearn for freedom and dreams throb again. In front of them is the East Sea Marshal Saint Finn, and in the back is Fire Fist Ace, both of whom are 20 years old, but have the top combat power on the sea. How can this not make those young people who are bound by rules and oppressed by power regard them as a guiding light? All over the world, the war song of sailing once again sounded. And this time the protagonist is Badoka's D, Ace, not Julent D, Roger. Their appearance is like a bright new star, igniting the desire for freedom and dreams in the hearts of young people and guiding them on the way forward. It also makes the young generation on the sea excited and shocked. Chapter 54. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this time on the peak, Finn has been feeling the domineering color belonging to Ace, intoxicated by it. Feeling Ace's heart. Feeling that anger. It seems that the previous analysis that the domineering color is an acquired obsession should be correct. Finn said to himself, Ace's domineering color contains anger towards Roger, which is unstoppable and has been cultivated since childhood. It has been strengthened. It was finally detonated and transformed into substance. Then how should my obsession transform? Where is my opportunity? Watching the two people fight for 2 days and 2 nights, and this scene was broadcast live by different reporters, Finn knew that this time, the Navy lost. Even if the Navy support arrived next, Ace died in battle, then Ace has proved himself and will be remembered by the times. The two people in the field continued to bombard each other. The natural system AoE has a large range, and the explosion caused by it burned the sky red. The battle was tense, but at this moment, a naval fleet came quickly from the side of the Drum Island. The pirates watching the battle at this time sank to the bottom of the valley. Worried about Ace next, a feeling of despair was spreading. Akainu's fleet approached quickly, his face was serious, and his eyes flashed with cold light. He understood that the key to the current situation was already on him. It was whether he could cooperate with Kizaru to successfully capture Ace, or kill him. Otherwise, the situation would be unimaginable. He looked at the people on the Drum Island, and there was a little worry in his heart. He didn't know if his rash intervention would cause a backlash from those strong men. After all, at this time, Kizaru and Ace were a one-on-one decisive battle between men. Akainu swept across the two people on the battlefield. At this time, Kizaru and Ace were not doing well. They were all deeply tired, and they were both the same. It was definitely impossible to take down Kizaru in a short time. Akainu's arrival made everyone on the island look extremely solemn, and they all had a faint sense of sadness, thinking that this time, Ace was doomed. Akainu looked at everyone on the island and made a decision. He was going to take action and take down Ace before everyone could react. He wanted to control the situation in their hands, otherwise there would be more trouble. Before everyone could react, Akainu directly hit Ace, who was fighting with all his strength. Caught off guard, Ace was hit directly. Fortunately, he resisted with his armed color in time and did not suffer too much damage, but it caused a blood shock. The Navy is really despicable. They actually attacked. Such a holy duel between men was actually destroyed. At this time, everyone was talking about it, and even the people watching the live broadcast were united in hatred. They didn't care whether they were pirates or not. They only knew that this was a battle between men. A one-on-one duel was sacred. At this time, Ace, a hero in his twilight years, looked a little desolate in front of the upcoming Navy warship. Facing thousands of troops alone, he looked sad. At this time, Kizaru also frowned. Unexpectedly, Akainu actually chose to attack directly. This kind of behavior of fighting without making a fuss is very likely to cause a greater conflict. Pirates always respond to duels between men with a holy attitude. Akainu succeeded in one strike and was ready to pursue the victory. He didn't care about the eyes of the people on the island. It was obvious that this was his temper, absolute justice, and he would continue to execute it to the end. At this time, the atmosphere on the island reached a climax, with shouts and curses, and they all supported Ace. Big fire. At this time, the black-robed man was obviously angry, and one of them was ready to pull out the axe at his waist to stop him. Old man, let's leave it to his partner. I believe his captain will protect him. After a sense of observation, the corner of his mouth rose slightly. Just when everyone was desperate for Ace, at this moment, a wave surged, and then a huge wave came from a distance. Before everyone knew what was happening, they saw a spirit that shattered the world coming from afar. It was terrifying, shocking, and extremely depressing. Wherever it passed, the space was torn apart like fragments, and it rushed directly to Akainu. Akainu's big fire was directly shattered, but his momentum did not diminish, and he went straight to the Navy warship. At this moment, Akainu felt a tricky situation. Under the sudden and powerful attack, he could only fight with all his strength. However, the people on the ship were not so lucky. In the face of this majestic momentum, even the elite soldiers fainted on the ground and could not resist this powerful impact. How is it possible? This is Whitebeard. How could he come so soon? Isn't he in the New World? At this time, Akainu's face was full of disbelief. Looking at the huge waves coming from afar, he instantly understood why. A crisp sound came from a distance. Ding! 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 Then appeared at the bow was the strongest man in the world, Whitebeard. Malta brat, you actually interfered with such a sacred duel and attacked my son. I only heard a loud voice coming from the ship and resounding around. At this time, Ace also reacted. Seeing this scene, he really cried, Dad. Who told you to come? Don't hurt everyone because of me. Gulala. Ace, we are here to save you. Then came the shouts of the Whitebeard group. Gulala, I am Whitebeard, my silly son, how could I give up my family? Whitebeard was obviously very happy at this moment. He finally waited for Ace's transformation. Now Ace gave him hope. He has all the characteristics of a strong man. What he lacks is only time. At this time, Finn was also carefully feeling the wave of attacks that shattered the world just now. The powerful domineering color mixed in it really fascinated him. At the same time, he was also looking at the strongest man in the world to see if he could see the gap between him and him, but Finn was destined to be disappointed. They were on different paths. He was a pure physical skill, destined to not have the devastating attack of the fruit ability. Maybe there was, but Finn had not yet reached it. First it was Ace and Kizaru, then Whitebeard. In such scenes, he sometimes wondered whether he should adapt to the local customs and eat a devil fruit. The attack was really too gorgeous. However, he just thought about it and immediately denied it. After all, he was not pursuing a momentary highlight. Lava Kid, I'm going to take my son back. Can you make way? Whitebeard obviously didn't want to fight for real. It was meaningless. Now Ace had received it. He only needed to return to the new world and his goal would be achieved. Whitebeard hadn't been so happy for a long time. Ace had always been his heart disease. He didn't expect that this time there would be such a transformation. In an instant, he felt that all the shackles were gone. It's really the saying that people are refreshed when they are happy. Ace has grown up now. He only needs to grow normally to hold up his flag, so he is very clear-headed. What he needs to do now is not to show off his courage and fight a decisive battle with the Navy. Whitebeard, where do you think this is? This is not the new world. If you want to leave, it is impossible, unless you leave Ace behind. The sinful bloodline must be eradicated. Akainu is obviously tough. At this time, facing the entire Whitebeard pirates, with just the few people he brought, anyone with a discerning eye can see the difference in strength, but he knows that Ace has become a force to be reckoned with. If he lets him go at this time, the consequences will be disastrous. With his strength that can tie with Kizaru, he will not be able to deal with him in the future, especially since he carries the names of those two people, and it is unknown how far he can grow. Letting him go at this time is like raising a tiger and letting it go back to the mountains, but he also knows that he has no advantage, especially on the sea. Whitebeard's ability to shake the sea can really change the situation of the war by himself. But he still has to delay and wait for the support of the Navy, because this is the Grand Line, the territory of the Navy. Lava Brat, am I negotiating with you? I'm Whitebeard. If you want to die, I'll help you. Whitebeard was obviously a little angry. Ace was a must-win for him. At this moment, he was in a good mood and full of energy. It was the time when his temper was at its peak. Brew brew. General Sakaski, the marshal called and asked you to answer the phone. What, let Whitebeard go? Akainu was a little surprised. He didn't expect that Sengoku would compromise. But he thought about it. If Kizaru didn't catch Ace, then they would have lost this game long ago. It was unthinkable to fight with the Whitebeard pirates on the sea. Since Sengoku had spoken, he had no responsibility. Whitebeard will leave the Grand Line immediately and enter the New World directly, otherwise we will fight to the end even if we pay a huge price. Gulala, guys, go home. Chapter 55. You are listening at novelfull.audio. New World Big Mom Pirates, watching the battle between Ace and Kizaru on the projection of Den Den Mushi. The senior officers of the pirates were all confused at this time, thinking, Kizaru, you are letting it go a little too much. As the four emperors in the New World, they must know each other's strength. What is the strength of Ace and Kizaru? They can fight so hard. Isn't this a fake match? If this group of people placed a bet, it would definitely be another violent protest, burning, killing, looting and fighting, but there are obviously people who know the goods, that is, Big Mom and his son Katakuri. They don't believe that Kizaru dares to let it go in this situation. The bloodline of the pirate King Roger, the source of sin, must be cut off by the Navy. But they also don't quite understand what's going on. Big Mom is a little confused and wants to find more details of the battle to see what's going on. Wait, Kizaru's expression is wrong. This is the shock of the domineering color. Could it be that Roger's kid has reached this level and really mastered the Conqueror's hockey entanglement attack method? Is this era really going out of control? Why are all the young people so over the standard? Before there was Finn, now there is Ace who can Conqueror's hockey entanglement, and he is also the captain of the Whitebeard pirates. This time he has attracted a lot of attention. I wonder how many strong people will rush to him. It seems that the balance of power will be broken soon, and the turbulent era is coming. Thinking of this, Big Mom's face is as uncomfortable as if he had eaten a fly. She did nothing wrong, but she has already fallen behind in terms of power. This is the new century, not the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom or the Garden of Eden. What is said here is that the strong are respected. In terms of power, his power is adjacent to the Whitebeard pirates, and conflicts have always been difficult to avoid. This is not something that she and Whitebeard can control. The joining of strong people will inevitably require an expansion of the pie. Otherwise, how can we maintain the expenses of the strong? Strength does not come out of thin air, and there is no spiritual energy of heaven and earth. It needs to be eaten. Without territory, where can we get food? In addition, the territory of the New World is controlled by pirates. The Whitebeard pirates have only a few people. How can they control such a large territory? It is not divided among the forces under their command. Who will tolerate giving their territory to others? What to do? Isn't it to expand outward and grab territory? If the leader dares to control, then the external contradiction will become an internal contradiction, and sooner or later, it will cause trouble. Therefore, a powerful force needs to occupy a larger territory. This is not something that anyone can control. This is the reality of the New World. She knows very well, and Whitebeard knows very well too, that this is powerless, unless he does not accept the joining of strong people. That is obviously impossible. If you don't stay here, you will stay. With the decline of one side, aren't you the weaker party? Who can do such a stupid thing? It seems that we really need to find Kaido to form an alliance. Alabasta Straw Hat Pirates. Ahahaha. Ace is so strong, he has been like this since he was a child. I have never defeated him. Luffy was obviously very happy. In the past 2 days, they have been concentrating on watching the fierce battle between Ace and Kizaru, and their hearts are always tense. This is not only because of the brotherly relationship between Luffy and Ace, but also whether the bloodline of the Pirate King can really be continued. Obviously, this is a crucial battle for the young pirates who set foot on the sea, and it has even attracted great attention from the whole world. It is a bit incredible to see that Ace can tie with Kizaru, but also quite happy. They are in the same camp. Who is Kizaru? Everyone knows that he is one of the 3 admirals of the Navy, the real strongest force of the Navy. It is extremely exciting to tie with him, especially compared with their age. Ace can be said to be of the same generation. The encouragement of such an event also makes them more determined to pursue their dreams, although other people in Luffy's group felt extreme pressure when they saw Ace's strong fighting power, because their captain also had a firm dream of becoming the Pirate King, but this obviously did not affect Luffy, who was very stubborn and would not change his mind once he decided on something, and would act according to his intuition. But, Ace, I will definitely become the Pirate King. Ahahaha. If Finn were here, he would also sigh. Where did such a kingly spirit come from? How could such a person be cultivated in the mountains? There is really no destiny. Obviously, Luffy is very confident in his own strength and firmly believes that he is being able to become the Pirate King, and changing his dream without any obstruction from anyone. Luffy's super strong willpower, the courage to fight with all his strength in the face of a strong enemy, regardless of everything and at the cost of his life. He was not in awe of the admirals and the 4 emperors. Such a kingly demeanor really puzzled Finn. If Finn were here, he would definitely ask, why do you think that you are the only king of the sea? Where does your confidence come from? However, this optimistic attitude is exactly why Finn appreciates him. He doesn't care about the bullshit One Piece. What he pursues is his own transformation and transcendence. There is no conflict of interest at all. Who doesn't like people who can bring joy to others? Grand Line Drum Island. With the end of the battle, the many pirates on Drum Island who came to watch the excitement also left one after another, but this wave of traffic produced a strong driving effect, once again making the medical cause of Drum Island famous in the Grand Line. Mad Wolf also bid farewell to Finn with his men and returned to Cloud Island. Finn was originally planning to move on, but he met an unexpected person. Red-haired Shanks. A pirate ship was coming from a distance. Obviously Shanks's group. He did not have the ability to shake the sea like Whitebeard, and he arrived 2 days late at full speed. He originally thought that Ace could not escape at all, and Whitebeard could not catch up with the rescue. But he knew Whitebeard's character and knew that Whitebeard would never leave Ace alone. A war will definitely break out between the Navy and the Whitebeard pirates. This is a major event that affects the world situation. No matter which side wins, it will break the balance, and it will definitely be a tragic victory. He did not expect that Finn's disruption and Ace's transformation would bring a glimmer of hope to the whole incident. Ace was not caught, and the Navy had no bargaining chips. It was obviously impossible to go to war with the Whitebeard pirates on the sea without any preparation, because on the sea, Whitebeard alone is enough to change the situation, and the Navy does not dare to fight him on the sea. However, Shanks, who arrived late, happened to meet Finn, who was about to travel far away, and became interested in him. It was really that Finn's current reputation was too loud, and he seemed to have the momentum of the four emperors on the sea. Of course, it was not the power, but the strength that did not match his age. His iron-like figure made him very well known. Julent D, Finn. Red-haired Shanks said politely. Red-haired Shanks. I wonder what you want to do with me. Finn just responded lightly, obviously not intending to get close to him. The famous East Sea Martial Saint is really not to be underestimated, ahaha. Humph. How can it be compared to your title of the Sea Emperor? Suddenly, one was caught off guard. Brother, how about coming to my ship, he. Finn didn't catch it for a while, thinking in his heart, has he become so popular now? There is Ace in front and Shanks behind. Finn was outside the game, and didn't know what top combat power meant to a force. It was the pillar of stability, and a force would be too little without it. He might not have figured out his position in Red Hair's heart. Red Hair knew Blackbeard's strength very well, and he knew how strong Finn was. The man in front of him almost wiped out Blackbeard and his gang alone, and he brought Weevil with him. It was hard to say whether he could beat him. Besides, there was no loss in making a friendly invitation, lowering his posture, and building a good relationship. What if he agreed? But obviously, Finn would not agree. His pursuit was not just the Pirate King. Besides, getting on someone else's ship, running around for someone else's ideal, working hard, was worthy of his distinguished identity as a time traveler. How could he gain a foothold in the time travel circle? It would only be embarrassing to tell others about it, so he simply rejected Red Hair's invitation. But obviously, Shanks was just asking tentatively, and he thought it was natural to be rejected, and he didn't take it to heart. Originally, Finn wanted to take a ride on Shanks's trip to the New World, but when he thought about the fact that he had just rejected someone, he was too embarrassed to mention it. Besides, for such a small matter, he owed a favor and was involved in the cause and effect of the four emperors, which was a completely unprofitable business. Moreover, Finn really hadn't figured out how to ask for advice on the Conqueror's hockey. From now on, it seems that this is something that can be done if you have it or not. If he goes to Rayleigh to tell him how to awaken it, he will probably be regarded as a fool by Rayleigh, so he was not in a hurry to go there for the time being, and thought it was better to walk his own way down to earth and think about this matter carefully. Chapter 56. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Marine Headquarters, Marineford, Marshal's office. The failure of this operation was far beyond their expectations. The three admirals, Sengoku, and Vice Admiral Tsuru were all silent at this time. Garp was eating donuts non-stop at this time, and he was secretly happy because Ace was rescued. He hadn't realized that his behavior was particularly abrupt, as if he was mocking the whole situation. This small move was particularly glaring at this time, making the others feel uncomfortable. The three admirals looked at each other, their hearts full of helplessness. Such a result was also difficult for them to accept. The most important thing was that Ace earned enough fame and tied with Kizaru one-on-one in the eyes of the whole world. The atmosphere was a little depressed for a while, and it was obvious that the failure of the operation was not a good thing. Sengoku frowned and felt a little melancholy in his heart. He really couldn't believe what kind of era storm would come in the next situation, especially this time Akainu raided the duel between Ace and Kizaru in the eyes of the whole world. The incident happened suddenly, and there was not much time for the Navy to make arrangements. They could only let Kizaru and Akainu carry out the decapitation operation. Originally, Sengoku thought that after capturing Ace this time, the Navy would regain the initiative, but he never thought that this Fire Fist Ace could actually use it, and was entangled with the Conqueror's color. How could he not be shocked? The young strong men of the sea stood one after another opposite the navy. The situation of the navy was really worrying. There is no doubt that next, there will be another wave of sailing to the sea, especially Ace's highlight moment, which formed a sharp contrast with Akainu's surprise attack, which will further stimulate the passionate and impulsive young people. Next, there may be even fewer young people joining the navy. How can Sengoku not be depressed? However, Sengoku will definitely not blame Akainu. As long as they can take down Ace at that time, all the initiative will be in their hands, and things will still be under control. The key is that they didn't take him down, and they retreated in the face of the Whitebeard pirates. I really don't know how this matter will develop in the future, and what impact it will have on the prestige of the navy. He understood all this. Now it is not a simple matter of winning or losing, but it is related to the future fate of the entire navy. This sudden change made him feel a little scared. Zhangguo took a deep breath and said self-deceivingly, "A momentary fluctuation cannot shake our faith. This time it's just that luck is not on our side." He thought it was just an accident. When Akiji's eyes were attracted by Rayleigh, Whitebeard quietly passed through Fishman Island and took advantage of the tsunami he created to arrive at the battlefield only one step later than Akainu. It was that simple. What he didn't know was that even if Whitebeard didn't show up, Akainu's behavior would have been unbearable and would have stopped. Of course, he didn't have the eyes of God, and he couldn't see it as comprehensively as we did. This action failed. Everyone please express your opinions. Zhangguo said a little weakly, "The situation that I thought I could easily deal with became twists and turns because of the sudden rise of Fire Fist Ace and Finn's intervention." Zhangguo understood that the root cause of the problem must be found quickly in order to effectively formulate the next response strategy. We need to understand why Ace of the Fire Fist came to the Grand Line, why he appeared at this time we seem to have been used by someone, why his identity was suddenly revealed. Vice Admiral Tsuru frowned and reminded. Vice Admiral Tsuru's words caused everyone present to think deeply. This incident seemed to involve a conspiracy. In order to figure out the ins and outs of the whole incident, they needed to conduct a comprehensive investigation. I will immediately send someone to the Grand Line to find out why Ace of the Fire Fist came here, and at the same time find out the source of the news. Zhangguo also found that something was wrong after the reminder, and immediately said, after a short silence, Vice Admiral Tsuru was worthy of being the Chief of Staff, and once again saw the key to the matter. From Kizaru's description, the key is that Finn's obstruction made the situation worse. Hearing Vice Admiral Tsuru put the reason for the failure on Finn, the three admirals looked at each other at this time. Although it is known that Finn's interference delayed Whitebeard's rescue, it is indeed part of the reason for the failure of this operation. But didn't Kizaru defeat Ace? After fighting for 2 days and 2 nights, he could have defeated him 3 days in advance. I can't help but doubt this. Obviously, they don't have a god's perspective. How can they know that it is Finn's fault? Otherwise Ace is no match for Kizaru. However, Vice Admiral Tsuru said so, and he must have his own analysis. In 3 days, too many unexpected things happened. The intervention of the news agency forced Kizaru to surrender the taboo weapon. Delaying his recovery is a disguised way to enhance his strength. The most important thing is, when did Ace learn the domineering hockey attack? Why didn't he use it in the battle with Finn? Also, why is he so angry? This should be the root of his domineering hockey that can be so strong. What is the reason, Kizaru, do you know? Kizaru was also puzzled at this time. How did he provoke him? He looked like he wanted to kill him. Did he do something that angered the heaven and the people? A one-on-one duel between men, don't all pirates believe in this? Moreover, he gave him the greatest respect, fought hard throughout the whole process, and gave up his greatest advantage. Why did he hate him so much? It was really puzzling. He shook his head helplessly at Vice Admiral Tsuru, saying that he was also puzzled. Garp was obviously secretly happy at this time. He must know what happened. Kizaru must have mentioned Roger again and again, which stimulated Ace, but it's better not to talk about this matter. Otherwise, it would be clear that he knew Ace very well. Wouldn't it be telling Sengoku that Ace's survival until now was not caused by him? Ace was rescued, and he himself just feel happy secretly, and leave the depression to you. Think about it slowly. He didn't even notice that his face was almost unable to hold back, and he almost laughed out loud. The three admirals, Sengoku and Vice Admiral Tsuru, also turned their heads and stared at him at this time, wondering, what does this inexplicable smile think? At this time, Garp also reacted, and he was a little too proud of himself. Then he laughed and said that he broke the donut record again in order to fool him. However, Sengoku and Vice Admiral Tsuru obviously had some calculations in their hearts. They are too familiar with each other. As soon as you open your mouth, I know what you are talking about. However, Sengoku couldn't ask directly. This occasion was not appropriate, and the old friend's face should be taken care of. Let's talk about it. How should we deal with this Finn? It seems that the failure this time was all due to his obstruction, which made the situation so uncontrollable. Sengoku said to everyone. He must be responsible for his actions. He doesn't take our navy seriously. Akainu said, his tone revealed his anger towards Finn. Obviously, Finn's behavior touched his absolute justice. Vice Admiral Tsuru pondered for a moment, then said, we can't leave Finn alone anymore. Judging from this incident, his existence has greatly threatened us, and decisive measures need to be taken. At this time, everyone's eyes were flickering with hesitation and worry. No one can guarantee that it will be smooth sailing for Finn. There will definitely be casualties. If you hurt the enemy, you will lose 800 of your own. However, they also know that Finn is not the same as them, and he also needs to be dealt with. Just when everyone was hesitant, Sengoku looked at Garp and asked, what do you think, Garp? Garp stopped the donut in his hand, took a deep look at everyone, and slowly said, he is now strong. If you want to make trouble for him, you have to think about it. Don't count on me. I can't beat him. Obviously, Finn's assistance to Ace has once again won Garp's favor. He regards Ace as his family. In his mind, is the damn justice of the Navy more important than his family? And what kind of justice does he have? He has seen through it a long time ago. He just wants to slack off and enjoy his retirement. He behaves more like a loser than Kizaru. Finn's strength is indeed far beyond our expectations. The most important thing is that we don't know his trump card at all. Every battle is almost a comprehensive crushing. There is no reference value. We must re-evaluate his threat level. Vice Admiral Tsuru said in a deep voice, his eyes revealing his fear of Finn. Everyone nodded in agreement. In the haze of failure, they understood that maintaining the dignity and prestige of the Navy was more important than anything else. Finn's strength was indeed strong, but he just needed to be treated with caution. It was not that he could not be controlled. Could it be that they were really afraid? After this time, they also saw that Finn was no different from a pirate. He also believed in the concept of the strong being respected on the sea, and did not take the rules of the world government seriously at all. Zhangguo frowned. He thought that if the East Sea Marshal Saint did not choose to become a pirate, he would not meddle in other people's affairs, would choose to protect himself, would abide by the rules, and would not do things that would bring trouble to himself. Now it seems that it is not the case at all. He still does his own thing and almost does not take the threat of the Navy seriously. Such behavior completely subverts his expectations. Finn's behavior is undoubtedly challenging our authority, and decisive measures must be taken. Zhangguo's tone became extremely firm. He knew that he could no longer respond passively, and he had to show force to maintain the dignity of the Navy. Vice Admiral, he calmly proposed, we need to mobilize more forces. Finn's power is far beyond imagination. We must deal with it carefully. After pondering, Zhangguo finally made an unexpected decision to open a bounty to allow more forces to participate in the action against Finn. He is an old man and knows clearly how to borrow power. The sea is not only based on strength, but also has more conspiracies and tricks. The Navy is not convenient to use them, and there are people to help them, especially Finn is a young man walking alone on the sea. Where can he have any experience? What awaits him will be the real danger on the sea, which will make him unable to defend himself. Considering Finn's reputation, after unanimous consultation, it was finally decided to use a stigmatization method to finalize Finn's bounty. Time conspirator, Julent D. Finn, life or death, 1.5 billion Baileys. Chapter 57. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ahahaha, the conspirator of the times, ahahaha. At this time, Blackbeard and his gang, who were recovering on the deserted island, looked at Finn's bounty order with confusion on their faces. It was a bit inexplicable. Such a big thing happened, and the Navy's handling was to give a huge bounty to a seemingly unrelated person. Did Finn do something extremely cruel that they didn't know about, or was there really a huge conspiracy that was discovered by the Navy? That's why he came up with such a shocking operation, and the bounty is almost catching up with the 4 emperors, or is it just to divert public pressure? Blackbeard was very happy at this time. Finn beat him so badly that he hasn't recovered until now. If other pirates had a bounty of 1.5 billion, he would definitely be envious to death. Wouldn't this be famous in the sea? Isn't this what they pirates compete for? But if it was Finn, then he would be gloating. Having been on the sea for so many years, how could he not know the dangers of the sea? It is not easy for a lone ranger without a partner and a passionate young man to survive safely. Conspiracies and tricks will come to him, and Finn's title, the conspirator of the times, also reminded him of something. A person who has no desires and powerful strength, but does not have his own ship and does not act recklessly like a pirate, must have unspeakable secrets. This time the Navy must have discovered something, otherwise there would not be such a title. Next, he is ready to watch some drama. He is still gloating here, but what he doesn't know is that the Navy is extremely annoyed by the behavior of daring to calculate them this time, and regards it as a great provocation. It is bound to arrest the conspirator to rectify the majesty of the Navy. It has long been analyzed through intelligence that the biggest suspect is him, Blackbeard, and the purpose of Ace, the Fire Fist, coming to the Grand Line is to catch him as a traitor of the Whitebeard pirates. Although their whereabouts are hidden, the Grand Line is the territory of the Navy. The Navy is determined to investigate a group of people. Can they really not find out? Their intelligence personnel are everywhere. Therefore, Blackbeard's group has been exposed long ago. This time, Sengoku still sent a Kainu, who has the hottest temper, the most powerful lethality, and the absolutely righteous, to wipe them out. What will be waiting for Blackbeard's group? We can only wait and see. Luffy, come and see, I saw the bounty for Brother Finn. At this time, Nami shouted to Luffy with the newspaper that had just arrived. Ha ha ha, Finn has finally become the freest pirate. Come, 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 show me. Luffy hurriedly surrounded him, and others were also curious. How much will this man who is about the same age as them but has always been able to crush them in strength be rewarded? 1.5 billion Baileys. Usopp screamed in surprise. The others were equally dumbfounded, with faces full of disbelief. Ha ha ha, Finn is really amazing. He can be rewarded with such a high price. Luffy is the only one here who doesn't care about these things and is happy for Finn. He always thinks that he will become the Pirate King, even if he is not a rival for a while. He thinks that these are just scenery along the way, a little wind and frost, not enough to make him afraid. A big-hearted player, Finn, who was walking alone on the sea, was also inexplicably at this time. He encountered pirate ships that wanted to invite him on board and entertain him one after another. At first, he thought it was the aura of the strong that made people blindly worship him. He was a little flattered. Who would have thought that under the perception of observation, the pirates actually had great malice? He knew that there were rule-based devil fruit ability users in this world, and it was common for them to capsize in the gutter. Especially since he was alone, he dared not be careless. If he was tricked, he would be finished. So, no matter what the reason was, as long as he encountered a ship full of malicious intent, all the ships would be destroyed and killed by cannons and guns, and no one would be left alive. He dared not be soft-hearted, as this was a matter of his life. For several days in a row, this kind of thing happened from time to time, and the key routines were quite similar, which made Finn feel something was wrong. He had come all the way on the sea without provoking anyone, and he couldn't figure out which link had gone wrong, which was inexplicable. But at this time, a merchant ship came from a distance. Under the perception of the color of seeing and hearing, Finn did not sense the strong emotions towards him. He quickly turned around and appeared on the ship neatly. Julent D, Finn. I don't know who called out Finn's name, and the boat was immediately in a panic. Everyone was at a loss, and for a moment, everyone looked terrified. Well, do you know me? Finn asked the young man who called out his name. Master Finn, you are my idol. I admire you very much. You are really too strong. You actually have a bounty of 1.5 billion Baileys for the first time. It's really incredible. The young man admired. Well, that's it. I was bountied. No wonder the positioning Den Mushy couldn't get through. I thought there was a malfunction. It seems that the Navy has closed my authority. Finn now knew where the problem was along the way. No wonder there are pirates who want to plot against me from time to time these days. It turns out that my head is worth 1.5 billion. Do you have my bounty order? Show it to me. Finn said to the young man indifferently. The young man hurriedly took out the bounty order from his body and handed it to Finn respectfully. Shit, conspirator of the times. Seeing his name like this, Finn was immediately a little unhappy. He immediately understood the Navy's intention, which was to stigmatize him and ruin his reputation, but it seems that the Navy is really sure of my intentions. They are so alert to me. Have they regarded me as a potential enemy long ago? Then why don't they use thunder and lightning to deal with me? Why do they want to alert the enemy like this? Don't they know my strengths and weaknesses? If they act rashly, they are afraid that I will run away and launch a bottomless revenge. So these pirates are here to test my bottom. He really guessed it right. The Lone Rangers on the sea, especially the strong ones in physical skills, are not afraid of the existence of the sea. How can the Navy not care? This is the most difficult person to deal with on the sea. If you become an enemy, you must be prepared to deal with it early. This is also why Hawkeye, who was known as the Navy Hunter when he was young, was awarded the 7 Warlords of the Sea. Isn't it because he has no weaknesses on the sea? It is too difficult to capture, unless you gather many strong men and take decapitation actions. Relying on warships is meaningless. Just one knife to kill one ship. This may not necessarily kill 100%. If you really let it go, it will be an enemy who will never stop until death. The Navy is big and powerful, and it can't afford this barefoot revenge. Really piss off these Lone Rangers, really shameless. One person can destroy all their bases and play them around. Therefore, the Navy is extremely wary of such people. This is also why the Navy dare not take action against Finn immediately. If it fails, it will not be fun. Chapter 58. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After leaving the merchant ship, Finn could only use the permanent pointer of Alabasta that he had obtained from Mad Wolf. However, he also wanted to know what the situation was like over there. Are Luffy and his crew still there? Is there really an original plot? Will Luffy really have good luck this time and defeat Crocodile by accident? After he himself experienced several plots of pirates, Finn also began to have the idea of building a ship. The main reason was that he wanted to do everything himself. He thought it was troublesome, and how could he live up to his current strength? Of course, all the pirates with malicious intentions were killed by him. Those who wanted to kill him were always treated by him with extreme cold-blooded violence. Without saying anything, he would strike first. His life was more important than anything else. Since the bounty was offered, there has really been no peace on the sea. Various troubles have come to him constantly. Those who want to recruit him and those who want to plot against him have forced him to pay more attention, which is very troublesome. This won't work. The devil fruits on the sea have all kinds of abilities, and it's hard to guard against them. If you don't pay attention and get hit, isn't it all over? Finn couldn't help thinking in his heart, he has nothing to worry about, and it's good to be free. His strength grows fast, and he doesn't need the crew to hold him back, but he has to bear all the risks alone, especially now that he is worth 1.5 billion, he doesn't know what kind of enemies he will encounter next. Who can guarantee that he won't capsize in the gutter? Didn't Luffy capsize many times? He has a hunch that the enemies he will encounter in the future will only become stronger and stronger. Now he has put all his eggs in one basket, and he has no risk tolerance at all. If he is careless, it may be all over. There is no one to cover the bottom, let alone save him. It seems that it's time to recruit some people, otherwise he won't even sleep well. After all, he is not Blackbeard, and he doesn't need to sleep. If he is exhausted by the round-the-clock battle one day, it will be funny. This 1.5 billion is not a small amount of money. Thinking of recruiting people, how to do it specifically. Suddenly he found something wrong. He had no direction at all and didn't know how to start. He just saw Luffy and found a few reliable partners along the way. They were all top talents and could support his dream wholeheartedly. He mistakenly thought that crew members were really that easy to find. Thinking about it carefully, he found that Luffy's group of partners were all met by chance, and they all had the strongest talents of the era. This was really not fate. Is there really such a coincidence? He suddenly felt a little unsure. Could there really be a so-called son of the era or a destined person in this world? This is too fantasy, but now he is most concerned about how to recruit people and where to recruit. Is it possible that if someone shouts on the street, "I am Monkey D. Oh, no, come again, Julent D. Finn, the man who wants to become the Pirate King, will anyone want to hang out with him?" Doesn't this seem a bit stupid? He can't afford to lose that person. There is also a high probability that those who come are ugly and have no strength. They must want to fish in troubled waters. Those who hope to be protected by him may be some unforgivable pirates. What's the use of him coming? Is he going to be their babysitter? He wants to recruit strong and powerful people. But there are few people in the first place, and they all have their own dignity. How can they be recruited casually like recruiting gangsters? Strong people don't care about face. But he must want strong people, otherwise it will lower his appearance. It won't help him either. Is there a crew training plan? He doesn't have the time. Now it's good, he is stuck in a dead end, and he doesn't know how to operate at all. This world believes too much in beliefs. Strong people have their own beliefs. How can it be so easy to agree with others and be their younger brothers? Do you really think that if you defeat others, others will really be willing to assist you? Don't be ridiculous. It's not that easy. The strong have strong beliefs. It's not easy for them to be driven by others willingly. Under the suppression of force, what they get is only unwillingness. If they procrastinate and make excuses, they may be stabbed in the back at the critical moment. Besides, he can't guarantee that the men he recruits are loyal to him. There is no long-term friendship between them, no long-term bond between men, and he doesn't have the aura of the protagonist's younger brother. If he recruits some undercovers from other forces with ill intentions, such as naval spies, then he will lose more than he gains. It completely goes against his original intention. It's better to be alone. Besides, now on the sea, where can he recruit people? It's a disaster. He also found the reason. His strength growth path is completely different from that of ordinary people. It's a bit too fast. Relying on abnormal qualifications, he can train alone, enough to accumulate strong strength. After reaching the bottleneck of strength, you only need to wait for the accumulation of transformation energy, break through the qualifications, and then you can enter the next stage of rapid accumulation of strength. Relying on the auxiliary cultivation system, you will take the path of the late stage and overwhelm others. If it weren't for the fact that his strength was growing slower and slower at this time, it would be difficult to accumulate the transformation energy for the next stage of transformation in a short time. Why would he want to go to the Sabaody archipelago so much to find the person he thinks knows the domineering color best? Isn't it just thinking about turning to the second best, comprehending the domineering color, further raising the combat power, and allowing the transformation energy to accumulate further and scrupulously? Only when you are strong can you accumulate transformation energy fearlessly. At that time, you only need to find a safe place, develop your own territory, accumulate with peace of mind, and wait until the qualification is transformed. Who can be his opponent? By then, he has the final say. Therefore, he has never panicked, because his purpose is very clear. As long as he reaches the strongest, the world will be his. There is no need for experience or fighting to break through bottlenecks. He only needs to crush others with his combat power. He still doesn't believe that there are people who can beat him, therefore, in the process of growing up, he is alone all the time, and of course there is no bond of growing together. Besides, who can keep up with his growth speed? What's the point of recruiting a few people of the same age now? He wants to recruit established combat power. Suddenly, he had an idea. Since people's hearts are unpredictable and unreliable, why not just not recruit people? Anyway, he has the ability to listen to the voice of all things, so why not recruit Kung Fu Manatee from Alabasta? At that time, as long as he shows his force and beats Luffy, he can easily gain a group of fans. Oh no, cute pets, since Hawkeye has the baboon pirates, it is not impossible for him to develop Kung Fu Manatee. He should really be praised. This idea is really amazing. Finn acted decisively at this time, giving up the way of walking on the sea surface, and used his strongest swimming skills to rush all the way. For a moment, the sea surface showed a white trace, and the surrounding waves surged, and the merchant ships passing by all avoided it. The people on the ship were terrified, as if they had witnessed a monster on the sea. Chapter 59. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this time, on the nameless deserted island of the Grand Line, Blackbeard and his gang were trying their best to resist Akainu's attack. Akainu brought a large ship of people, but he was the only one who took action at this time. It was obvious that he wanted to vent his anger at this time. He was extremely angry. His behavior of raiding Ace had been fermenting for so many days and was despised in various ways. How could he not be mad? The key was that he had not caught Ace yet, so, this time he did not let his men take action. He wanted to personally turn this group of bastards who dared to use the navy as a gun into magma. Meteor volcano. The magma fell from the sky, the terrifying high temperature, the air was burned red, and after landing, there was a sea of fire everywhere. This time, Akainu obviously had no intention of showing mercy, and directly turned on the violent mode. Then there was another frontal attack. Big fire. Facing the magma sea of fire and the magma giant fist attacking from the front, Blackbeard and his gang were in a very bad mood at this time. Although he could absorb the power of the devil fruit, it would return with double pain. Faced with such a bombardment, the damage was horrible, and there was nothing they could do. They could only dodge constantly, and the other three did the same. No one dared to take it head-on, but if they could dodge so easily, it would be too good to be true. After the magma fell into the ground, it was also constantly melting the ground. It wouldn't be long before they would have no place to stand, and the four of them were extremely anxious, but at this time, they were facing Akainu, a famous super strong man. They were no match for him. Blackbeard could barely beat him, but it also depended on how others fought. He could suppress the fruit ability and invalidate the ability user, but he had to contact the ability user. Blackbeard's dark fruit did not appear in this era. He had a fruit illustration, so could the Navy not have it? Besides, his ability had been used on Drum Island, and the Navy was not blind and didn't recognize it, so, how could Akainu do as he wished and fight him in melee? He started with an AoE big move and started a bombardment and washing mode. Meteor volcano. Big fire. Akainu's fists were constantly turning into lava, and a large amount of huge lava shot into the air, and magma like a meteor shower kept falling from the air. Moreover, the ground, with him as the center, was gradually being eroded by lava. Blackbeard could only open the dark acupoints to absorb the magma on the ground in a small area, otherwise he would not even be able to stand, let alone run. But what about the magma in the sky? Yenran fell into a desperate situation, a real desperate situation, with no way to deal with it. Except for Blackbeard himself, the other three people were no threat to Akainu. Akainu didn't even dodge Van Oka's armed color bullets. With the top-level observation color that foresaw the future, he turned into magma in advance. Poison Q and Badgers couldn't get close at all. At this time, a funny scene appeared. The four of them were like playing hide-and-seek, avoiding the magma falling from the sky, but how could Akainu let them dodge so easily? He attacked the four people with a huge Hades dog. Seeing this, Blackbeard also took on the responsibility of a captain. He knew that this attack was no joke. If it went wrong, the four of them would be finished. He used dark water directly to absorb the magma, but don't forget that absorption is not a matter of a moment, and the damage will be multiplied back to him. Under the high temperature burning, Blackbeard was in great pain at this time. If it weren't for the indifference he had developed on Whitebeard's ship for many years, he would have been unable to bear the pain. He also knew that today's matter could not be taken lightly, and it might really be over, so he endured the pain and blocked Akainu's attack to protect his teammates behind him, but Akainu was obviously angry, so he didn't give Blackbeard a chance to breathe. He continued to attack with magma. The magma coming from the sky and attacking from the front made the whole island burn. This scene also stunned everyone on the warship. What happened? How did they provoke this person? Is this place going to turn into a volcano? Akainu did not give Blackbeard any chance to breathe, and continued to use the advantages of his fruit, bombarding Blackbeard and his gang non-stop, just to kill them. Not surprisingly, a long defense will lead to a loss, and Blackbeard was the same. He failed to successfully block the flying flamethrower and was directly hit. His whole body was burned and he was knocked to the ground. It was a horrible sight. At this time, barges resolutely stood up and grabbed Blackbeard and his three companions, one after another, and threw them to the side of the raft with great force, and he rushed to Akainu alone, trying to buy time for his companions to escape. Akainu was also stunned. He didn't expect that there was such a selfless companion. He was touched by Barge's behavior, but he showed no mercy. In anger, he hit the Hades, and Barge's right arm directly melted. Van Oka, Poison Q, and Blackbeard, whose body was burning, saw that Badgers was the last one to leave. They endured the pain and paddled the raft with all their might to escape. After Akainu dealt with Badgers, he quickly ran to the seaside and used his fruit ability with all his strength. Meteor Volcano. They bombarded Blackbeard and his gang who were trying to escape on the sea. However, Blackbeard and his gang were not weak either. Such a large-scale bombing could still be easily avoided, especially on the sea. Akainu wanted to catch up on a warship, but the speed of the warship with sailing technology was no match for Blackbeard and his gang's desperate paddling. After a while, they disappeared. Blackbeard's boat looked a bit shabby, but it was very maneuverable, especially when a strong man paddled it, with full horsepower and running very fast. Akainu was strong, but he couldn't fall into the water. Maybe Blackbeard was not destined to die. If Finn were here, he would definitely think that Blackbeard had planned this way of escape. He found a big fool like Badgers and threw him out to escape at the critical moment. At this time, Badgers was not so good. The magma was all over his body, which was terrible. However, Akainu still followed the Navy's way. He caught as many as he could. Seeing that Badgers had no power to resist, he directly ordered people to arrest him. A person was reduced to a prisoner miserably. With the current development trend, it is unknown whether Blackbeard can save him or not. If Finn saw this scene, he would definitely ask Blackbeard how he did it. He would envy him to death. What he wants most now is to recruit loyal strong men, right? He racked his brains but couldn't think of a good way, and Blackbeard can make Badgers so loyal. He really has some tricks. Chapter 60. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After a full sprint, Finn really arrived at Alabasta in a week, which made him exhausted. This place is unfamiliar to everyone. What should he do? However, he will soon know the reality of this world. He is now a famous celebrity, a traffic star, and there are bounties for him everywhere. How could no one know him? That is, Julent D. Finn, it's incredible. That's a pirate with a bounty of 1.5 billion. Ah. It's really him. I saw several young men running over quickly, with admiration on their faces. However, Finn still sensed it with his sight and heard, and confirmed that there was no malice, so he stopped and waited for them to come over. Lord Finn, it's really you are my idol. Finn didn't want to get too entangled with him. He didn't care too much about the passers-by in his life and unfamiliar strangers. Okay, stop, let me ask you, is Straw Hat Luffy still here? Finn looked at them and said lightly. Straw Hat Luffy, the new guy who is in the limelight recently. But he defeated Crocodile, and he should be in the palace. receiving the king's hospitality. Oh, what exactly happened? Master Finn, you don't know yet, the 7 warlords of the sea crocodile, who was regarded as a hero by the people of this country, actually harbored evil intentions and instigated a rebellion in secret. The young man said seriously. Yes, it's true that you can't judge a person by his appearance. Several people next to him echoed. But he was still defeated by the Straw Hat Pirates, and now he was taken away by the Navy Rear Admiral White Smoker, who is in the limelight recently. But why Smoker didn't attack the Straw Hat Pirates, I don't know. After listening to the young man's words, Finn had an idea in his mind. It seems that he has to believe that there is really a destiny, but he still wants to ask Luffy in detail how he defeated Crocodile, who possessed the sand fruit in this country. Is it really luck? But at this time, he should find Luffy as soon as possible. How do we find the Straw Hats? Finn continued to ask. He got the answer easily. After a few instants, he was outside the palace. With the perception of observation hockey, he easily found Luffy and his crew. Finn. Is it really you? Did you come to see me specially? Great, ha ha ha. Suddenly seeing Finn, Lugu was very surprised and happy. This was one of the few people he recognized. He was much stronger than him and taught him domineering. He was always grateful to Finn. I just came here on the way. There is only a pointer pointing here. There is no way, I can only come here first. Finn said truthfully. So that's it, Finn, this is fate, get on my ship. Finn was a little stunned at this time. Is this a joke? Can Luffy say such a foolish thing? But he still said mercilessly, I don't want a captain who can't beat the crew. Luffy was speechless and furious, and was about to challenge. If he hadn't been stopped in time, he would have been beaten again. Fortunately, he had a big heart and forgot about it in a few minutes. At this time, other people also happily gathered around and greeted him, but at this time, there was a young woman, and Finn recognized her at a glance. This was Nico Robin, the son of the devil. She really looked a bit like the original, a strong woman. When Robin saw Finn, she looked incredible. She never thought that Luffy actually had a friendship with Finn. It seemed that they had a good relationship. Who is Finn? As a scholar who likes research, how could she not know that he is in the limelight? His combat power may be better than that of the Admiral of the Navy, and he is likely to be a super strong man who is comparable to the 4 emperors, and an idol worshipped by countless young people. But these scholars always like to explore the truth of things. After learning that Finn's title is the Conspirator of the Times, there must be a reason. The Navy will not be aimless and make up stories. They must have found some basis. She was also very curious about what kind of ambition was worthy of the title of the era Conspirator, but he and Finn were not so close, so how could he ask such a question? So he just stared at Finn with curiosity. Oh, it seems that this lady is curious about me. Can I ask why? Finn said with a smile. Finn, this is Robin, our archaeologist. Luffy introduced happily. Oh, you have found a reliable partner again. You are amazing. I envy you. Finn was not lying at all. He was really envious. Ha 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 ha. Hearing such praise, Luffy laughed heartily. There was no way, since he couldn't beat him. He was also happy to see Finn get humiliated. At this time, Robin also reacted. Indeed, she also found that staring at Finn was a bit impolite. She apologized immediately. Sorry, I'm curious, Mr. Finn, the era Conspirator, 1.5 billion bounty, what's the matter? I see, but I don't know either. You have to ask the Navy. I don't even have a ship yet. Finn certainly wouldn't answer truthfully, but just perfunctorily. By the way, Finn, did you help Ace? Luffy asked curiously. Not really, he just woke up by himself. How come you guys have become so strong? But who is stronger between you and Ace? He. You probably don't know that I knocked him out with one punch. Ah. You didn't lie to me? Luffy asked in surprise. How strong is Ace? He watched the live broadcast. He tied with Kizaru. He is a Navy admiral. He was indeed a little skeptical of Finn's words at this time. Why do you think I was wanted? It was because of Ace's trouble. I injured him. He was recovering at my place. Yellow Monkey came to him and I delayed him for 3 days. Otherwise, he would not be a match for Yellow Monkey. Is that so? He, thank you. Now that I'm wanted, all kinds of ghosts and monsters have emerged. Along the way, I met many pirate gangs who want my head. Ah, are you okay? What can I do? You dare to attack me and blow me up. You don't know my style, do you? Ha ha ha. At this time, Luffy's smile was very forced. How could he know Finn's style? He always thought Finn was a good person to talk to. After all, they did get along well, that's right. Finn really knew that Luffy would not harm him and could bring laughter to people, so he treated Luffy sincerely. As for the other people, he didn't know what their purpose was, so how could he be open and honest with them? If he was so easy to show favor to others, he might be sold out one day, therefore, it was not easy to gain Finn's friendship.